So viewers, the US President Donald Trump truly deserves a Nobel Prize because if anything, his frequent tantrums and tariff threats have managed to bring together countries that would not have been on the same side just weeks ago. India and China. The Chinese ambassador to India has taken a jab at US President Donald Trump after his tariff imposition on various countries, including India. And with the text, he also added a post quoting an excerpt from the talks between the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi as well as the chief advisor to the Brazilian President Lula as well. The post said, and I quote, "Using tariffs as a weapon to suppress other countries violates the UN Charter, undermines the WTO rules, and is both unpopular and unsustainable." With that, let's get you more breaking updates now coming in as the countries come together for talks amid this tariff threat. The mention of Lula is significant because Brazilian president has also spoken to the Prime Minister, reaffirming the commitment to deepen the India-Brazil strategic partnership. In a post on X, Prime Minister Modi thanked President Lula for making his visit to Brazil memorable and meaningful. The Prime Minister said a strong partnership between global South nations will benefit everyone. Now, it is indeed beneficial in times when Trump is out to tariff everyone, a thread that ties Brazil, India, Russia and China together. In fact, Brazil and India both face 50% tariff threat, which is the highest in the entire world. So India and Brazil are the only two countries in the world that are facing a 50% tariff threat from the United States. And in fact, Lula had this days ago said that he would rather call Prime Minister Modi than dial Trump for the trade negotiations.
भारत अपने किसानों के, पशुपालकों के और मछुआरे भाई बहनों के हितों के साथ समझौता नहीं करेगा.
Why are you singling India out for these additional sanctions?
It's only been 8 hours. You're going to see a lot more. You're going to see so much secondary sanctions. Yes, ma'am.
और मैं जानता हूं व्यक्तिगत रूप से मुझे बहुत बड़ी कीमत चुकानी पड़ेगी, लेकिन मैं इसके लिए तैयार हूं.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी को ये बात 10 साल पहले सोचना था कि हमें अपने किसानों के हित के लिए हमेशा चिंतित रहना चाहिए और प्राथमिकता पर हमें अपने हर सेक्टर का ध्यान रखना है.
It is, I think, known that President Trump uses drama and uses said raising the ante as a negotiating tactic.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी वो ट्रंप के सामने नतमस्तक हो गए, लगातार चुप्पी साधे हुए. आज पहली बार बोले जबकि अमेरिकी राष्ट्रपति डोनाल्ड ट्रंप भारत को इकोनॉमिकली ब्लैकमेल कर रहा है.
We did it with India. We're doing it probably with a couple of others. One of them could be China.
We have got a very special relationship, a long relationship, and we highly value our strategic partnership. We are very excited and delighted to learn about the visit of His Excellency the President of Russia, President Putin, to India.
Senior Consulting Editor Srinjoy Chaudhary joins us on the broadcast on what this really means now. Srinjoy, just a few weeks ago, this would have seemed impossible. Now you have the Brazilian president dialing Prime Minister Modi to further trade talks. And interestingly, even China coming out in defense of India.
Brazil and India are very close friends. In many ways, India and Brazil are also similar. Large countries, huge populations, and also they are in many ways still developing. So President Lula and Prime Minister Modi also have a very good friendship. So in many ways, Brazil and India are coming together, and even a defense partnership is being looked at very seriously. So it's no surprise that Brazil and India are facing the similar kind of tariffs, and they are working together. This is no surprise at all. The fact that the Chinese ambassador has said what he has said just a while ago is another clear sign that China always uses opportunities when it sees them. And it has, at this point, after President Trump has said what he has said about tariffs. So on this issue, Chinese support is welcome. But the important thing that is what lies ahead. Regardless of what President Trump has said or anyone has said, an American negotiating team is going to be in India this month. And it's particularly important that this issue is seriously discussed and hopefully sorted out during these negotiations.
So we are seeing very clearly that the nations are coming together, the BRICS nations are coming together, and just a few weeks ago we saw the US President Donald Trump going on to say that BRICS is anti-India, and these statements and the theatrics that he has been pulling off lately does not seem to have had much of an impact except for these countries coming together, isn't it? Sundar, realistically in the trade with the United States, now it's not going to be a versus of course, but with the talks now expanding with Brazil as well as China, with Russia as well, India making it clear that we're not going to be backing down. How could this play out, for the economy, for the markets? How is it going to play out with India making it clear that, yes, we are continuing our negotiations with the United States, but that does not mean that the U.S. threats can ensure that we desert our partners?
Let's take the America-China relationship as an example. The Chinese faced 150% tariffs. They also impose similar tariffs. China, of course, is the world's largest exporter. America is the world's largest importer. Both countries realized the problems they were causing to each other and, in effect, to themselves, and they have arrived at a solution. So if China and America can actually sort their problems out despite being adversaries, there is entirely possible that India and America can sort out this problem, regardless of who says what at this point. That's the first thing and a very important one. Now, America has to understand certain things. Not America, actually President Trump. That number one, not very long ago, the Americans said, point one, that when India buys Russian crude, actually the price of crude in the world stays low. Secondly, when India refines Russian crude and exports it to America, America sees it as Indian crude,
yes,
Indian petroleum. So as a result, India has been working in exactly the manner that it has, keeping in mind what America has said. Secondly, it must be said that at this point, because of these wars, Russia, Ukraine, and Middle East, prices of petroleum have gone up very rapidly, along with prices of food grain and fertilizer. So for a country that has 3,000, that has a per capita income of $3,000, it's very important to buy petroleum at low prices. Which is why India is doing what it is. If India's per capita income was like America's, $70,000, we perhaps would not have done it.
Yes, but and in fact, Srinjoy, Jaishankar had also said very clearly that if we think about the countries that Pakistan is dealing with, then that would cause a lot of tensions to us. So how should the United States look at that statement? Because US has made it clear that because India is buying Russian oil is why the tariffs are being imposed, but are they going to do the same with other countries as well? Do stay with us. I just want to take our viewers through the update that the Prime Minister has put out as well. He has taken to social media and he has spoken about the conversation that he had with the Brazilian president. He says, had a good conversation with President Lula, thanked him for making my visit to Brazil memorable and meaningful. We are committed to deepening our strategic partnership, including in trade, energy, tech, defense, health and more. A strong people-centric partnership between Global South nations benefits everyone. So he has gone on to mention Global South nations coming together, and he says this is going to benefit everyone. So the message from the Prime Minister is very clear. The countries in the Global South have also made their stance very, very clear. Now, this call between Prime Minister Modi as well as the Brazilian president is the first response to the US president's 50% tariff warning to India. Undeterred and unfazed, India made it clear there will be no compromise over the interests of farmers, fishermen and livestock. Now, in fact, in a strong expression of commitment, the Prime Minister said that he knows that he might have to personally pay a heavy price, but he is ready for that. This resolve may soon come handy because Trump has said that there might be more in the offing in the form of secondary sanctions. We are breaking updates now coming in amid the unending Trump tariff tantrums. India finds an unlikely ally in China. Now, China's mouthpiece has come out in big support for India. Now, China's mouthpiece, the Global Times, has an op-ed that ties and speaks about India. And in fact, it interestingly also cites a Hindu proverb in the op-ed. And this is about the ties, saying that there should be better Indo-China ties. So, Srinjoy, India being referred to as brother in this op-ed by the Chinese mouthpiece. So, India being not just referred to as a brother, but also very clearly China coming out in open defense of India.
China is always known for its opportunism, and this is an advantage that China has currently because of all the things that President Donald Trump has been saying and doing. And this doesn't only refer to India. China has made inroads in Africa and in different parts of the world because America has said, look, we don't want to get there, let's stay away from there. Even vis-a-vis international organizations, the Chinese have been making headway because President Trump has said America should not be involved. Now, this is a way of China ensuring a larger role for itself in the world. Now, vis-a-vis America, India, China has seen an opportunity. And let's not forget that that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be in China not fairly soon. And this, of course, while it's a multilateral meeting, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, there is a likelihood of a bilateral with Xi Jinping. So China is also preparing for it. Yes, Prime Minister Modi will be in China for the SCO, and there could be a bilateral with Xi Jinping. So China is preparing the ground for it with this media offensive in Global Times and statements that the Chinese ambassador has made.
All right, but Srinjoy, how is the United States going to view it? Because the United States has spoken against the Global South coming together. It has spoken against the BRICS nations coming together. He has, in fact, called it anti-United States as well. But now it's becoming increasingly clear that the Global South nations are coming together. The trade is going to increase. China coming out openly in defense of India. How is the United States going to react, or how is the U.S. going to view this? Because as we speak, we're also going to be seeing the U.S. negotiation team arriving in India. That 21-day period of negotiation still remains open.
Yes, the Americans are aware of this. There are different ways of ensuring leverage. India is trying to do that. For instance, India is buying a lot of weapons from the United States. Now, there it is for India an opportunity for leverage. India can say that, look here, you are going to give us a 6 P-8I aircraft, and you are charging an amount which is 50% more than what you did 4 years ago. Now, if that is so, then we have problems buying it. We want a deep discount. We want a hefty discount. Now, there are many ways of leveraging international support. Chinese support can be leveraged. The fact that India is buying American weapons can be leveraged. There are many ways of doing this. Now, America has to understand where India stands. Because America and India are part of a Quad, for instance.
Yes.
America and India have a very close strategic partnership, for instance. American President Donald Trump could be in India this year, is what we are hearing as part of the Quad Summit. So these are things that have to be taken into consideration. But the fact that bilateral ties are very important.
Yes.
The fact that India's position is what it is because of a variety of factors has to be understood by the Americans.
Absolutely. And the first bilateral that will be taking place with the Prime Minister visiting China for the first time in 7 years. A lot expected. Sanjay, do stay with us. We have on the phone line with us Mr. Vijay Kranti, India-China relations expert. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Vijay. How do you look at the global times, the op-ed hailing India, ties with India and even going on to refer to India as a brother? China is one country that has come out in open defense of India amid this tariff war.
History has its own way of moving, and many times it takes directions, or it takes you in direction which we were not expecting. Everybody knows that India-China relations have been quite tense for quite some time, and we were not hoping that there will be much improvement. But the conduct of Mr. Trump has changed so many things across the world that now it appears that the whole everything is in a cauldron, and now there is a new preparation coming out and new equations coming out.
Okay.
And I think Mr. Trump is not doing a favor to America. He is basically a businessman. He is not a diplomat. He is not a statesman. He is not a politician. As a businessman, he is trying to conduct the superpower which it is commanding. And in that process, the decisions he has taken is now going to change so many things, and India-China relations, India-Brazil relations.
Yes.
These two things have come out together. It only shows that the countries which America is attacking right now or trying to bully, they are no more countries of 70s, 80s, 90s. They are new Brazil. They are new India. And they are not going to take such bullying, kneeling down.
Yes.
So I think the editorial of Global Times reflects that China is also now preparing for a new world order, where it will have to start taking India in a different way rather than an adversary, rather as someone with whom China can cooperate. I think this is going to be a big takeaway from Mr. Trump's bullying, that countries like India, Brazil, China, all these countries are now going to take their own relations.
So they're all going to come together, and we're already seeing that, isn't it? In the relations between India, Russia, India, China, getting even better. India, Brazil as well, like you mentioned. Thank you for joining us with those details. Let me also go across to my colleague Arzu, who's joining us on the broadcast. And Arzu, one may not have expected it even a few weeks ago. The op-ed that has come in the Global Times hailing India's stand, and also a Hindi proverb being put in there with India being referred to as brother. Take us through the details.
Yes, Pratibha. So it's a second statement which is coming in less than 24 hours, and I have China's global mouthpiece statement with me. So which says, and I quote, as a Hindu proverb goes, help your brothers both and your own will reach the shore. A healthy China-India relationship brings positive spillover efforts to the region and the world. And we welcome Prime Minister Modi to visit China with genuine intentions to improve bilateral ties and pragmatic cooperation plans, and to jointly usher in a new chapter of the dragon and the elephant dancing together. So we have clearly seen that India has found an unlikely ally amid Trump tariff tantrums. Over to you, Pratibha.
Okay, all right, Arzu, thank you for joining us with those details. Interesting op-ed on Global Times. With that, we have some breaking updates now coming in. The trade tensions continue to simmer. Asked about possible negotiations, the US President Donald Trump has now hardened the tariff stand. In fact, he has said that this is going to continue not until things are resolved. That's what he has gone on to say when he was asked asked about the negotiations after Prime Minister Modi has batted for farmers, saying the interest of the farmers is going to be paramount, even if he has to pay a personal price for it. The U.S. President Donald Trump now hardening his stance. Listen in. All right, we'll play out that reaction in just a moment. But the U.S. President Donald Trump, remember, over the last few days, the kind of statements that he has been making. First, he was asked in particular about why India is being singled out. And then he went on to say that there will be more. That's the indication that he gave, that there will be more penalties to pay. This was after a 50% tariff had already been slapped on India. And now when he was asked about it, yet again, Donald Trump has gone on to say that there will be no let-up, and he has only hardened his stance on tariff. But the bigger question is this again a negotiation tactic by the U.S. President?
Mr. President, just to follow up on the India tariffs, do you expect increased trade negotiations, since you've announced the 50% tariff?
No, not until we get it resolved.
Mr. President, is your deadline for Vladimir Putin agreeing to a ceasefire still stand tomorrow? Is that fluid now that the talks are...
Say it, what?
Is your deadline still standing for Vladimir Putin to agree to a ceasefire tomorrow, or is that fluid now?
It's going to be up to him. We're going to see what he has to say. It's going to be up to him. Very disappointed, yeah.
Not until things get resolved. That's what he has gone on to say. What is he talking about? Because he was not clearly talking about the negotiations. He said that can't happen until this is resolved. That mystery still continues. We'll have to leave it at that. Srinjoy, thank you so much for joining us with all those inputs. With that, a quick